How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very good. How you doing?
I'm wonderful.
Great.
I really am.
Good. Well, congratulations on Saint of the Lost Souls. That'll be out March 24th via Frontier Records. How much different?
Thank you so much.
How much different is this album compared to past releases?
Well, we always try to do a little something different every record.
Right.
And we decided to add more keyboards into this record, to try to bring back some of the original sound.
Right.
And it seems to have worked. A lot of the tracks that, James, he's a genius, James, when it comes to that stuff. He really is. He's just really, really great.
Right.
And he just has a good knowledge of what the band should really sound like from, he takes things from the past and the present. And we always try to keep the record, sounding fresh and bring back some of the old,
Right. Wow. Yeah, I know. I definitely noticed, a little hint more of keyboards on this, this release and stuff like that. But I mean, as I was reading Facebook this morning, and one of my questions was Harlequin, 30,000 views in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm very happy with that. I have to say, having Mikkel Lupi,
right,
in the video and on that song, it's a real honor. We became friends about over 2 years ago, and you know how things just happen that are really strange. Mandy and I went to see Whitesnake at a casino in Rhode Island, and before the show started, we decided to take a photo in front of the stage. There was no opening band, so the Whitesnake banner was up there, and
right, yeah.
We just a friend of ours took a photo, and I guess what happened the next morning, I looked at my phone and I see this message from this person, Mikkel Lupi. He says, "Hey, I didn't know you were in the audience. I've been a big fan of HOL from the very beginning." And I said, "Who is this person?"
Yeah.
Right? And of course I looked him up, and I said, "Oh my God, it's the keyboard player for Whitesnake." I go, "He's." I didn't know he was a House of Lords fan. I said, "How the heck did he know I was in the audience?"
Right.
What happened was, social media being, as amazing as it is, we posted the picture on Facebook. I'm friends with Mikkel's lady friend from overseas.
Right.
So she must have messaged him and said, "Hey, the guitar player for House of Lords is at your show," and stuff. And so it's funny how things work out.
Right.
We became, the next day he was playing a show in New Haven, Connecticut. I contacted him, and then we went down, and I finally got to meet him and talk. What an amazingly sweet person, and he really is a fan. When I tell you this guy's a House of Lords fan, I mean, he is.
Right.
From the very beginning. He has the House of Lords record on his wall. I idolized Greg Jafria.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And so for him to be in this video was not only a thrill for us, but a complete honor for him to be a part of it. He was excited about it.
Right. Yeah.
And, this is great. It just all worked out good. Harlequin's a very cool tune. It has a little bit of, when I presented it to BJ, we have the same system we've always had. I've told you this from every record. I come up with these riffs. I bounce them off of BJ first, and we go through them and kind of say, okay, let's move this part, or we'll get rid of this part, or that's good, or sometimes it's perfect the way it is. We record it and we send it down to James to get his opinion, and he'll either chop it the way he wants, through the computer, and send it back if it needs to be recorded. Usually we're fine. Usually it's pretty good. We've learned how to work together after all these years, and so that tune to me had this I always call it an Arabian vibe, just because of the way the music went. The music kind of is has a vibe, that type of thing to it, Spanish, Arabian, however you might want to call it.
Right.
And but the way that the lyrics came out ended up, being about the Harlequin, and it just seemed to fit. Everything just like really fit once the lyrics came. And then we had the opportunity to, they were looking for a place to film the video. And our video crew came across, the old Norwich Insane Asylum in Norwich, Connecticut,
right.
which has been shut down for years.
Wow.
And we got permission to go in there to shoot. And the video, I feel, came out, amazing. A lot of cool stuff in there. Strange stuff, it's got some weird things in that. And if you read the history about the building, it's got some strange things,
Wow. Did you get any kind of vibe in there?
Well, yeah. I mean, there was some kind of some weird stuff that happened in there. I mean, it's me personally. I enjoyed it. Like I went going through there, like I was more in awe of the building. I didn't go in there freaked out like, oh, this is weird, But I was more in like, wow, this is like really, cool looking, strange, like however you want to,
Right.
You just imagine the history of what, things that have happened in there. If you look it up and read it,
Right.
They say, Ghost Hunters has been in there. They say it's, one of the 10 most haunted buildings in the U.S. I mean, who knows,
Wow.
With that stuff.
Yeah.
But there was one strange thing that after I had left, James was still doing his parts, and our new bass player, Chris Tristram, and his fiancée Michelle stayed because they actually had given James a ride over to the place where we were shooting.
Uh-huh.
And the room should have been the warmest room. It was about a 50-degree day that when we shot.
Uh-huh.
When Chris and I did our parts, there was a blizzard that morning.
Wow.
So there's actually, you'll see some scenes that there's actually snow on the ground inside the building. That was the day that Chris and I went and did our stuff. I've actually been back and forth to the building, 3 or 4 times because I went with BJ when he did the drums, and then finally we did the segments with everybody when James came up. But when James was filming his scene, the room had a lot of windows in it, and like I said, it was a 50-degree day.
Right.
And then what's kind of weird is like the room was very cold. And it really shouldn't have been because there were other rooms that were darker and stuff that were warmer.
Right.
But that one particular room, like everything, if you watch the video when he's singing, you see his breath.
I did
out.
See that.
Yeah. So that is, that's not a photography trick or anything. That's really happening.
Right.
And like I said, you shouldn't see that on a 50-degree day.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
Whatever. Right. But anyways, it made for a great video, and we're very pleased with it. And we're very pleased with this record. Like we're like I said, we're trying to always do something a little different. We don't want to do the exact same thing.
Right.
Well, like for example, I never know what James is going to do with a song. Like we'll send like some, the basic tracks down to him. I wish I can remember the song. Oh, Rain of Fire is a tune on there. And he sends it back. And it has a mini moog on it. This
right.
do.
Yeah.
This, and I went like when I first listened to it, I was kind of taken by it. Like I didn't know what to think at first.
Right. Yeah.
And then the more I listened to it, I was going, wow, this is really cool. I like this. This reminds me of old HOL, right. When you got to mini, so we're always trying, and that's a good thing. Brian, as you know, we put out a record almost every year. I mean, not every year, but every year and a half.
Right.
We're doing a new record. I mean, not a lot of bands from our genre do that. They just don't.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Probably my favorite song is "Saint of the Lost Souls." I
love that tune.
I think your guitar works amazing on there, and
thank you so much.
It's really a great tune. I hope other fans feel the same, and hopefully they enjoy the whole album. But that's my particular favorite.
I've gotten a lot of people that are writing me for reviews and interviews and stuff, and they're all like really impressed with the record, and they do all mention Saint of the Lost Soul. They just really like the guitar work and stuff. I did something a little different on this record that I've never done before, and it was because of a friend of mine, a really good guitarist named Gregg Livesay, that suggested this because he does this for his records. And I'm one of these guys that records a song, and then we get up to the solo section, and BJ say, "Okay, let's do the solo section." And most of the time, all the solos I did were on the fly.
Right.
It's like I just would do them right there at the studio. I never sat down and I worked out anything. Sometimes I did. I worked out little sections or something, but for the most part, it was hit the record button, go. What'd you think of that? Let's do another one. You could do better, or So we would go, maybe two or three passages, and then say, "Oh yeah, that's the one. Let's take that one. That's good." This time, I actually worked out all my solos. I mean, pretty much before I went in and recorded, and I've never done that before. And I don't know why I've never done it before. I just never did it, And for some reason, it worked out so much better. To go in there and have at least a good structure of what I wanted to do.
Right. Yeah.
I should have done it years ago. I'm still learning, Brian.
Wow.
Still learning. 59 years old, and I'm still learning.
It's funny because, me talking to you and stuff like that, and reading this morning and stuff like that. Two of the questions I had prior to our interview today, what was the 30,000 hits on Harlequin, right? And I said, "Oh shit, he just posted that." I was going to ask that, right? And now
okay.
Another one was near the end of the interview. I was going to ask about comments I read about Gregg Livesay, who was one of my favorite guitarists too, and that's another question I was going to ask. So what's your feeling towards him?
Oh my God, I love him. He's a monster guitar player.
Right.
Him and I, you meet people. I've met so many people in my life, and I truly appreciate every person I meet. I enjoy everybody's friendship. But sometimes when you meet somebody and you click it off with them, whether as a person, you just have so much in common. His story and the way that he is, his little idiosyncrasy, whatever you want to say, his little quirky things are almost identical to mine.
Right.
And it's so funny, like the way that we practice, and right down to the point where, like, him and I, like, if we go into like Guitar Center or something, we'll be the softest guys playing in the music store. We won't even have the guitar amps up at all. We're just playing at the lowest volume while all these kids are going, wow, playing full volume in the store. But him and I, he does the same thing. And so many times that we sat and talked about things, we laughed so hard because we had so much in common. But, he comes from a different school of shredding, and this is where we appreciate each other very much. Like, he's this guy that comes from the neoclassical side.
Right.
And there's a lot of guys that, that cop the Yngwie thing. But he doesn't do that. He's just influenced by that, let's say. There's some people that play it like too much.
Right, yeah.
That you can't tell if it's Yngwie or him or whatever, which is cool. I mean, because I can't play that stuff, so I'm not knocking any guitar player.
Right.
It's just not my style. I never learned it. I was out shredding on guitar before Yngwie Malmsteen was even known.
Right.
And this is the God's honest truth.
Mm-hmm.
But Gregg was influenced by him, and but didn't copy him. He took his own, made his own stuff, and you could hear it. You know, and he's such a great guy. He's a killer player, though. Killer. I mean, you've heard him, right?
Right. Yes.
You've heard
definitely.
him.
Yep.
Yeah. He's and not only a killer player, but an amazing person too. So if you ever get a chance to talk with him, please do, because he's one of the best.
I think that really might be our next interview after you. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Make sure you tell him I said nice things about him.
I will. You know.
Yeah, we like I said, we come from two different styles of shredding.
Right.
And you know, my style is way different, but we have so much respect for each other, and it works out cool. He comes and sees me play all the time. We have, you know, we go out and have dinner together all the time. You know, like
cool.
It's really cool.
Wow.
Really great guy.
So tell me about your new guitar. A cool picture you had on Facebook about that skeleton guitar. Tell me a little bit about it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to tell you what I did, and this all goes into Gregg Livesay as well. He's played a scalp board all his life, scalp guitar, fingerboard. Not all his life, but you know, I'd say a good part of his career. He's been playing it for a long time, and he was trying to get me to play one for a long time. He says, you know, you'll like this, you know, you're going to love this. So I've always had my fingerboard scalp from the 17th fret up, and then I brought it down to the 15th fret, and then on this last guitar, I brought it down to the 12th.
Okay.
And I was a little leery on playing it at the 12th. When I got it, I said, geez, this feels a little weird. But I played it, and I was getting used to it a bit. So then I went and scalped the rest of the board all the way down to the first fret myself. Now, I did this on a Monday. The House of Lords show was on a Friday, the one show that we did.
Right.
So I did this, you know, and I'm playing it. And I was, you know, going, oh, this is kind of weird. But the more I played it, the more I was liking it. I played it during the rehearsals. So everything seemed to be okay. I get up on stage with this guitar, and it was like it turned on me. Like the thing, like the guitar came alive and said, I'm going to destroy you tonight. It's like the guitar, I couldn't play this thing at all. I struggled, and I was so preoccupied with the fact that I was fighting this guitar on stage and having such a hard time with it, I didn't even come to the conclusion that my other guitar was right behind me on the stand. I could have just put this guitar down and picked up the one that I was very comfortable playing, and went through the night. And I fought this guitar all night on stage. Really, it was really funny. So what I did, of course, I call up my repair guy, Dale Roberts, the guy that makes all the guitars for me down in Jacksonville, Florida. I go, Dale, you're not going to believe what I did. I scalped the whole fingerboard. I messed up. I sent the guitar down to him. Within a day, he removed the fingerboard, replaced it, and got it back up to me. I had the guitar back in 3 days. Wow. And only with the frets scalped to the 15th, because, you know, when you're playing up high and you're bending notes, that's where it really works the best. So I had that done like that. But yeah, I ruined the whole guitar. That's me, you know.
Wow.
I do stupid stuff all the time like this. It's funny.
So what's going on with Maxx Explosion?
Well, Maxx is in the process of writing a new record. We don't have a deal right now with anybody. We're in the process of working on that. But Maxx's schedule had to change a little bit because of Chris is pretty busy with docking. Right. But still, we're moving forward, and we have some really good tracks written for the next record. Cool. So that's still going to happen, and it's just a matter of timing of everybody's schedule. House of Lords is going to be busy this year. Yeah. It's going to be very busy. I got some, I can't get into it right now because I don't have all the details, but I did get some good news. Good. Yesterday. Good. It looks like there's going to be U.S. states involved, a very reputable agent doing some stuff with us. And finally, because this is one of the main problems that I've been dealing with House of Lords is just trying to get the band back in the U.S. market.
Right. Yeah.
It's been difficult, and you got to remember that band really started when Gene signed him. You know, they were out on tour with Scorpions, Cheap Trick, and everybody. They were doing Coliseum tours and everything. It just changed. You know, they weren't around long enough. You know, they came in. When did House of Lords come in? Like '88, I believe. You know, they came in, and then all of a sudden, you know, the Nirvana, Seattle, whatever you want to call it, scene, you know, squashed all the hair metal bands, and they got lost in the shuffle along with that.
Right.
And so we had to. This is where my, not just mine, but the whole band's goal is we want to play the U.S. again. You know, we want to get out there and play U.S. shows. I mean, we do great in Europe. Europe is not a problem. You know, we have a 2-month tour starting at the end of August. We're playing the Hair Metal Heaven Festival in the UK, and that starts our tour. From then on, we're over there. But you know, U.S. is important. We have a lot of fans. I get calls from people, you know, messages, texts, you know, please play here, please play there. Our new bass player, Chris Tristram, you know, he came from Jack Russell's Great White. Right. Yeah. He gets messages all the time. Wow. I mean, like constantly about, you know, they were so excited about him joining House of Lords. His fan page, everything, I mean, blew up like you would not believe. Wow. And when he joined the band, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, all these people want to see House of Lords. Well, you know, what's going on? You know, where are you? You know, let's, you know, get all these messages. Let's go. You know, I'm ready to go. You know? Yeah, definitely. One thing I'd like to know is that, is there a rule from James that every time you see House of Lords, they got to be dressed to the T? I mean, you never see House of Lords pictures with someone with a T-shirt. You guys are dressed perfect. Every time. I swear, I don't think I ever saw you without like a suit on. Oh well, I that's just me. I got to tell you, I'm into the sport coat thing. I just kind of like even like around, you know, town and stuff like that. It's just kind of the way I dress. But in my own defense, I do have just a black T-shirt on underneath the sport coat. So yeah, but still, every time you see you guys, I mean, the whole band is dressed perfectly. You know, I don't see, you know, T-shirts and like, you know, some bands don't care. They just go up there and whatever, you ripped up shirt or whatever. But you guys always dress perfectly. Nah, James isn't. Yeah. James doesn't. He doesn't do that. I think that's just the way, you know. It always was. You know, it's funny you say that. The whole Blazer thing for me goes as far back as, you know, I told you many times I'm a big, huge fan of Ritchie Blackmore and always have been. Right. You know, I used to look at pictures of Ritchie Blackmore in his pilgrim hat wearing a black velvet blazer and stuff. I mean, I have photos of him. So this all stems back from my love for Deep Purple and for Ritchie Blackmore and stuff. You know, it's what it is, you know. I just kind of like looking okay, you know. I look at Brian. I mean, you know, my hair, everything, you know, I dye my beard, my hair, my sideburns. I mean, it's no lie. I mean, it's you know, I'm 59. I'm still, you know, out there kicking ass, doing, you know, what I love to do and what I've always loved to do. Right. And I feel like a 20-year-old. I mean, I really do. I'm not, you know. Wow. I walk 4 miles every single day. You know, I try to do whatever I can to eat healthy. You know, whatever you got to do to maintain in this business. I don't drink any alcohol, no drugs, never smoke a cigarette in my life. Wow. You know. Yeah. So it's, you know, these are things that are important to maintain in this business. You know, to, you know, if you want to continue. You know. Definitely. Yeah. You're the same age as me. Yeah, we're same age. We should just like celebrate and get totally ripped together. Oh man. Jimi Bell, House of Lords, new album coming,
Any time, March 24th, Saints.
March 24th.
Yeah, March 24th, Saints of the Lost Souls. Congratulations!
And we will
once
be
again.
doing we are going to be doing another video too for the record. I love, how do you like Hit the Wall? I absolutely love that tune. I just think it's a very cool mid-tempo ballad. It's a really cool tune, and there's a lot of great stuff on it. House of Lords fans won't be disappointed with this record.
Not at all.
They
I
won't.
listened to it all morning, and I loved it.
Very good.
It was very cool. Say hi to James and BJ and everybody for me.
I will.
Would you
I'll give them all your best. We love you so much, man. You're always really good to us.
Great.
Totally appreciate your time, and I look forward to this interview every year. I really do.
Well, you have anything for the fans?
To all the House of Lords fans and friends from around the world, we can't wait to see you. We will hopefully be doing U.S. dates finally this year. And as far as our Europe fans, we always come over and we love you dearly. So we will see you all very soon. And thank you for all the support that you give this band. We really, truly appreciate it.
Great, man. Congratulations. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Brian.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.